Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about this breaking news, breaking Ukrainian forces quitting by the thousands, refusing to die in NATO's war. That's according to Redacted. So that's where the headline came from. But it came from Redacted. And okay, so where did Redacted get it from? Well, they got it from RT or Tass. I first saw this on RT. Ukrainian troops surrendering en masse, says Tass. 10,000 of Kyiv's forces have reportedly laid down arms in recent weeks. Here's Tass saying the same kind of thing, and Tass is also a Russian news outlet. Okay, so I looked at this on just Googling and to see where this came up. It came up on Tass. It came up on TFI Global, which is an Indian news organization that just basically takes whatever is out on Russian news and repeats it. RT. Now then you see at least 10,000 Russian soldiers surrendered on YouTube back in March. And you see in the Kyiv Independent, nearly 10,000 Russians have contacted surrender hotline, and it goes on and on. Almost 10,000 Russians. Okay, so let's look at what they have to say on Redacted, and we'll just go through this and see if it sounds right to you. Or, you know, I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but I'm going to try to maybe test some assumptions and press on them and see what's going on. Okay, here we go. This is
Thursday. We don't want to waste any time. We want to get right into the news because we've got a very busy day for you and we want to get right into it. So let's start right there. And let's talk about the biggest story of the day, which I think inarguably is what's been happening in the war in Ukraine. And we're going to be looking more deeply here in a second. So Ukraine is surrendering. I mean, that is the word. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers are laying down their weapons and surrendering to Russian troops. This is amazing, right? This is a story.
It would be amazing if it was actually happening, but it is the official Russian narrative, and you can't find it in the Western press anywhere. And so, yeah, this is so. Okay, some folks, Scott Ritter, Doug McGregor, Redacted, the Duran, these guys, Jackson Hinkle, are what I call repeaters. They simply repeat Russian talking points and then act like it's really a thing, where we found that the veracity of Russian state media is pretty low. So let's hear what they have to say and then just kind of look at the assumptions behind it.
The Western media does not want you to see. Over the past few weeks, we've been tracking
the Western media. I can't find it in Google because the Western media is hiding it. Now, which is more likely to your mind? That the Western press, the free press, is just hiding it, that they're all colluding to not say anything, or that Russia, which has been proven to lie regularly in Russian state media, maybe made it up, especially after you see that it actually is what happened to Russians. Nearly 10,000 Russians have contacted surrender hotline in Kyiv. Okay, so let's just keep going and you'll see.
In countless reports of Ukrainian men surrendering before they are to be killed. So you're going to see, like, take a look at your screen here. So these are night vision scenes in Ukraine, night vision capturing many of the moments as Russian forces surround these targets. There they are in the brush. You can see them coming out of the brush, and they're making announcements. Come out, live, or you will be killed. Thankfully, these men are coming out and they are surrendering. Just look at the screen. They're waving the white. Anything you have white that you can wave in your hands right now, please do it. And we will make sure that you are safe, you are taken care of. How many?
I'm sure they're going to be taken care of really well. Now, this video bolsters his argument, but it proves nothing because this is just a surrender video. We don't know if that surrender video is linked to this program or not. And so let's talk about the program. So the program is a frequency 149-200 call sign Volga. And so they say that more than 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers have used this frequency and chosen life called 149-200 Volga frequency to surrender. The prisoners are well fed and are provided with all the necessary medical care, the source stated. So if they call this, they can go surrender themselves. What we saw here has maybe it's that, maybe it's made up, maybe they're surrendering, maybe they're just captured. I mean, we just don't know, and this video doesn't actually prove it.
Of you are there, Tell us how many of you there are. Don't lie to us. Come out, lay down your weapons, and you will not be hurt. You will not be killed.
Now, we have brought you reports that Russia has been dropping pamphlets to tell them exactly how to surrender so that they don't get hurt. We also know that from NATO reports, from leaked documents, that if they surrender as a unit, they cannot be prosecuted for desertion. So that's why we see them coached with almost identical language as they get in a room. They say, we are all together. They explain that we are command that has been left without weapons, without any training, and we're stranded here and we surrender. There's a formula to this, and we've seen it over and over again. You wouldn't see it if you're only watching CNN, but we've shown it to you.
See, there again, it's you won't see this on the mainstream media because the mainstream media are the bad guys. So who's more truthful, the mainstream media or Russian state media? I mean, that's really what this amounts to. And you have to decide that for yourself. And if you've decided that the mainstream media, including Fox News, if you're a conservative, or Newsmax or whoever else that you might watch as a conservative, including them, is so corrupt and so bad that Russia state media is really more appealing, maybe there are bigger problems going on. Okay, so they have all these things worked out. Well, so does the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have worked this out. Here, they have Visit Ukraine, how to surrender, step-by-step instructions for Russians and forcibly mobilized Ukrainians. Okay, they go through this. What to do if you're mobilized? Well, try not to get mobilized. Avoid all personal delivery of summonses. What if you received a summons? Beware of scammers. If you have not managed to avoid mobilization, here's how to surrender to the Ukrainian army. As soon as you enter the territory controlled by Ukraine, surrender at the first opportunity and report that you are a citizen of Ukraine from the occupied territory. Even if the absence of supporting documents, this fact will be established. Ukraine will list you as captured in combat. Here's how to surrender. How to surrender if you're alone. Unbuckle the magazine, hang the weapon over your left shoulder with the barrel down. Raise the shoulder of your empty hands. Put up a white cloth. Shout loudly, Zadeus. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Approach on command, comply with demands of the Ukrainians, and here's how to surrender as a group or an entire unit. What guarantees are you given? Well, you'll be treated properly and you'll be returned to Russia later on, but you'll be reported that you were captured in combat. Okay, so that's what, I mean, Ukraine already had this down a year ago, and so this is nothing new or surprising, but Russia kind of tends to do what they see Ukraine doing and then say that they're doing it better or awesome or whatever else. Okay, here we go.
The Western media is not going to show you this story.
Oh, no.
I guarantee you're not going to see this story on the front pages of the BBC.
And that's because it's made up. I can almost guarantee you, I've been spending hours a day since almost the very beginning of the war studying this, and now I shifted gears about 3-4 months into doing YouTube channels, and my YouTube channel, instead of just writing for my book is up here about Zelensky, and I spent the first few months just trying to understand what was going on, and I've been doing this. The Russians lie. I mean, they just lie about what is going on. So if I can't verify it independently beyond Russian state media, I don't really put a lot of stock in it, but he does. And see, that's the real dangerous thing. He thinks that this is true. Okay, let's keep going.
See tomorrow, CNN, the New York Times, or other places, you're not going to see reports of the thousands who have been laying down their weapons over the past few days. And here is Robottino and another surrender that's happening. You can see them coming out of the brush, nighttime, night vision goggles. Again, I mean,
again, I have no doubt that Ukrainians have surrendered. That does not, make me, concerned at all. That happens. Both sides, this kind of thing happens. But is it because of this program? I don't think so.
Literally could be mowed down at a second's notice.
And wait, let me qualify something too. That's not to say that this program hasn't had some effect with some, but 10,000 seems a little steep given what we know about other things.
And they're being given refuge. Drop your weapons, lay down your Western weapons, lay down on your face, make sure that you're not having any grenades, and tell us where you're coming from. Is there anyone else left in your troop? If there is, call them out. and we will check you to make sure that there's no other explosives on you, and then you will be given shelter, you will be given food, and you will be given medical attention.
But here are some of the 5 points that were published in Jacques Baud, the NATO specialist's book. He says, here are the ways that you surrender safely. This is what Russia is telling Ukraine. Abandon your position and leave the combat zone. Isolate nationalists and SBU, I guess, snitches, for lack of a better word. Record a video message to your command. Say that you've been abandoned by your commanders. And it says, be careful not to cross paths with nationalists whose task is to prevent you from surrendering or backing down.
Because you know how those nationalist Nazi types are. Okay, so they have their instructions, but, you know, Ukraine had theirs too, explaining exactly how to surrender. Stack the weapons in front of you at a distance. Stand directly in front of them. Choose negotiator, whatever. Okay, so I'm not going to make your head hurt anymore with Redacted, but here's a little bit more. Ukraine offers Russian soldiers a hotline to surrender. This was January 3rd of this year, 2023. So they've been at this for a while. And here's another article from the Kyiv Independent. Nearly 10,000 Russians have contacted surrender hotline in 6 months. So that is in March 3rd. And so I don't know what the total number is, but there have been lots of people that have contacted, and fewer, of course, have actually gone through with it. Here is more than 1 million Russians have called, texted, or visited the website of the Ukrainian hotline that allows them to surrender. That's not 1 million surrendering. That's people interested, like me, looking at this. The hotline, which is run by the I Want to Live project, has received about 200 to 300 daily calls in September, said Vatili Matikvinko, the project spokesperson. Instead of calling, some Russians choose to send encrypted message via Telegram. Altogether, more than 4,000 people have submitted requests to surrender, and this was as of January. So are the Ukrainians up to 10,000? Perhaps. Are the Russians with the come late to the party and surrender? Probably not. But the way that the Russians think about things is that they're so awesome and dreamy that, of course, the Ukrainians would have to surrender because they have no hope, and that's the message that they keep pumping out. Okay, last little bit is, this is actually from the Guardian News. Do I have to get on my knees? Russian soldiers call Ukraine surrender hotline. Here's the audio, and I'm going to play the audio for you. I'm going to read it because it's in Russian, so you're not going to be able to hear it. Hotline, hello, I'm listening to you. Russian soldier, hello, they gave me your number. They say you can surrender voluntarily. Yes, I'm in the Kherson direction. Have you already been mobilized? Are you already in the military? Yes, I have been mobilized. Soon we will be sent to Kherson. I will ask you to go to Telegram, find a chatbot, I Want to Live there, and fill out your information about yourself there. When the Ukrainian military comes to us, do I have to get on my knees? The soldier asks. How to surrender? Well, the reply is, when you are on the front line, immediately call us here. But I'm not alone. A group of soldiers want to surrender. But they say that in Ukraine, we can be imprisoned for up to 10 years. If you voluntarily surrender, you will be registered as captured on the battlefield. All your benefits, all your payments are yours. Is there any guarantee that if I surrender, I will not be filmed, I will not be beaten? That's a legitimate concern. There are people who want to give interviews so that they can be seen in Russia and exchanged as soon as possible. You may be in an exchange pool, and you can apply for political asylum in Ukraine, Germany, and the Netherlands. Okay, so it's been going on for a long time. That was what one of the conversations sounded like just 8 months ago. So are Ukrainians surrendering en masse like they're saying here on Redacted? I don't believe so, based on the evidence. Now, it could be that there's equal surrenders. I don't know. I'm not there. But I highly doubt it. The Ukrainians are far more motivated than the Russian soldiers, especially conscripts in Russia. All right, that's all that I have to say. Tell me what you think and leave those comments below. I'm very curious. If you know anything more than I do, just drop it in the comments below. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the coffees, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.